Thank you for listening to or watching today. This is episode 7 of Holy Shiitake, a podcast where we discuss life in Japan and how it compares to other countries in the rest of the world. If you're listening to this on Google Play, iTunes, or Spotify, or watching on YouTube, there's a chance I might be live, or we're both live at the same time on my channel, twitch.tv/f7porter. You can find us there. And if you can catch us live, giving us a follow here or liking the video on YouTube and things like that just help us out as well. As always, I'm joined today by Jenny. Hello, Jenny. How's it going?
Hello, Florent. I was really
What? Hold on.
panicking an hour ago
Yeah.
because I was about to call you, but you are not answering what was going on. So please explain to me, what is this daylight saving thing
All right.
that does not happen in Asia?
So we had a little issue for those who follow us on Facebook and all. Initially, we had the plan to have the podcast start at 6 p.m. Pacific, which originally I thought was uh, 10 p.m. Manila, 10 a.m. Manila, 9 a.m. Tokyo, right?
No.
Oh,
9 a.m. Manila, 10 a.m.
I
Tokyo.
I always get confused with those ones. That's why when I make the images for it, I have the sheet on it, and I just need to change the date. No, I don't have to change the time usually. Um, but as it turns out, here in North America, we have a very stupid thing called daylight saving.
Is it really stupid?
And it's yeah, kind of stupid. Like there's a good idea behind it in the first place because it's to save energy, right? To conserve energy.
Okay.
But it moves the time an hour forward or backward twice a year. So 1 year, like yeah, one time it goes forward, one time it goes backward. It's so we don't use lights outside as long as like for the whole year when we don't need to, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I get it, but we do this, and Asia doesn't do this.
Asia doesn't. I don't know any other places that changes the time schedule
Uh, they
or
do,
whatever.
they do it in Europe as well.
I think so, but
Yeah,
I don't know where else. Probably in Europe and the Americas, but
yeah. I guess it's a Europe and North America. I think.
how about South America?
I have no idea
Not
about South. I
really.
don't know.
Yeah, that being said, we decided to like change the schedules of Tokyo become from 10 a.m. going to 11 a.m. and Manila from 9 a.m. going to 10 a.m.
There you
All
go.
right. So that will be permanent from now on. I'm going to repeat that 11 a.m. Tokyo time and 10 a.m. Manila time. So today I really apologize for the sudden change of the schedules. I was not really aware of that. Fine. Okay.
Like for the story, for those watching us and listening to us, Jenny called me in a panic a bit earlier, being like, "Where are you? Where are you? Are you okay? What's going on?" And I just woke up from a nap and we're like, "What the hell is happening here? It's only 5. What are you doing?" And
Oh God, and you were just sleeping and I was panicking.
and
God damn it.
and I was just sleeping. I'm sorry.
Well, anyway, so yeah, guys, just remember the schedules. It will be permanent from now on. There will be no other changes whatsoever.
There you go.
Probably only in Canada and the
So yeah,
on the
so yeah,
those parts.
having those times set for Tokyo and Manila means that the time will change for Pacific time, mostly for me, I guess, which is
Yeah,
fine.
I think so.
Which is fine.
Yeah,
Which is that just means that for the next 6 months or so, we're gonna have the podcast at 6 p.m.
exactly.
And in about 6 months from now, it will be 5 p.m. instead.
Hmm.
So it doesn't change a lot.
And so I'd like to tell you that winter has started in Sapporo for like a week or two
Okay,
already.
it's been very cold here too, actually lately.
How's the weather there? I mean, what's the temperature right now?
Right now when I leave in the morning for work, it's anywhere between 3 and 5 degrees Celsius.
Oh, and it's about 5 now, 5 o'clock.
Right
6?
now, it's just a bit past 6 a.m. I don't know what the what.
Ah.
I honestly don't know what the weather is right now. Let me check.
So in Sapporo, while Florida is checking out the weather in Canada,
I mean, I could
in
just could feel the
Hokkaido,
window,
in
but
Sapporo specifically, yeah,
yeah, yep.
the weather here is 12 degrees Celsius, and for America, that's 53.6 degrees Fahrenheit. But at night, it goes down to 0 degrees, which is 32 degrees Fahrenheit in America. So
Wow,
that's quite cold for me.
getting cold.
But to be fair, the differences between when I was back in the countryside, there was much snow compared to where I am in Sapporo. There's not a lot of snow. In fact, today the road is really clear, like no snow at all. So half of me is happy because I don't have to be careful, or I don't have to lose my balance and everything. But half of me is also concerned because, like the climate change is really showing up. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
I mean, to be fair,
Yeah.
we're only like what end of November, so and you're in Sapporo, which is a bigger city, I guess, and like in bigger cities because they are bigger cities. It's typically a little
Mm-hmm.
warmer, so it's hard to get
I
some
think
snow.
so.
I see it here in Vancouver, right? In Vancouver itself, we barely get any snow every winter, but if you go like just an hour up north, you get
Mm-hmm.
like 5 feet of snow every winter.
What? That's
Oh
crazy.
yeah, oh yeah,
That we are going to talk about how cold is Hokkaido, probably around the January.
yep.
But for now, let's talk about the safety of Japan. But before that, I'd like to shout out to all the viewers, especially my friends out there. And if you want to share any comments and reactions, feel free to share them in the live chat. All right?
Yeah, type in chat if you have anything to say, anything to react, or if you want to give your own informations. You can also find us on social media everywhere. You can type exclamation point Holy Social in the chat, and you'll get all those links, and they'll pop up regularly on the screen as well. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Pretty much the same
Mm-hmm.
usernames everywhere. I will also
Mm-hmm.
link those in the description for the video on YouTube later this week or next week.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, okay. So what before we talk about our topic at hand, today we're gonna talk about safety in Japan. How safe really is Japan?
Wait!
Right?
Not yet!
Hold on, hold on. Let me finish. Okay, I have
Okay, okay.
uh,
I'm
to,
gonna shut up now. Shut
today
up, shut up.
today I have my script. Okay, I'm sticking to it.
Okay.
So we're gonna talk about safety in Japan, how safe really Japan is, and I mean those who watching us right now probably already know because it was on poster everywhere. Before we start that, we need to go through, which is not kind of a tradition now, I guess, for us. And you're gonna show us something new or interesting or weird that you found out, and
Yay.
and that you're going to try live on screen right now. So what is it?
Okay, it's a very popular snack here in Japan and somehow in the Philippines as well. Yeah, I know. it's
Holy
called it's called a senbei.
Sunbae.
Senbei.
Sen.
So yeah,
Oh,
senbei.
senbei. Okay, I see it. All right.
It's basically a cookie, Japanese cookie,
All right. What is it made of?
and it's. I have no idea. I didn't research about that. Oh my goodness. But it's a foamy cookie.
Foamy cookie.
I don't know. It's like I was actually already eating a while ago while I was
You
getting
cheated.
ready. I can't take it.
You
So
cheated.
sorry. Yeah, so I already opened that one, but well, let's try to open this unopened version.
All right. All right.
So it's the black one is toasted soybeans,
Oh.
I think. Yeah, they are. They are toasted soybeans. I don't know why they're black. Probably because they're toasted.
I mean, yeah, I guess.
Sorry, it's a little bit noisy. So yeah, there we go. It's a little bit shiny over there. A little bit shiny because it was, what do you call that? Brushed with I don't know, with some flavorings.
Okay.
And we're gonna crack it open. Oh yeah, should be
Ooh.
here. And you
Nice.
can see you can see the texture is a little bit white
All right.
because I don't know, it's made up of foamy
So
substance.
it's like light and fluffy.
Yeah, probably I should call this a styrofoam cookie.
Styrofoam
Crackers.
cookie.
Styrofoam crackers.
Maybe.
So yeah, this is the what you can see from here. It's the toasted. Okay, fine. I'm gonna eat it. Like people are like, just eat it. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm gonna eat it
we
now.
want to know what it tastes like.
It's salty. It's crunchy. It has a little bit taste of soy sauce in it,
Okay.
and probably what they use for making what do you call that ramen, which is
Oh,
called dashi.
okay.
Anyone out there? Somebody who would react if anyone knows dashi. So dashi is like a seasoning that they commonly use to put on noodles, especially for ramen.
Right.
Sometimes for udon. Udon is like the fat version of it's not ramen, but it's like a
Hmm.
fat noodle kind of thing. And Japanese people love to use this seasoning. So instead of using salt, they use dashi a lot, almost all
Right.
the time. Unfortunately, some of my friends are not really happy about this condiment. Well, it's not condiment, it's a seasoning
Like why?
because it's not really healthy. That's the thing.
What do you mean it's not healthy?
It's not healthy because the salt in it is very strong.
Okay. But
And if
like, is it
yeah.
is it strong or is there a lot of it?
Oh, that's a good question.
Because it.
It's both strong and unfortunately a lot of people here use a lot of it,
Oh, okay.
especially when they cook noodles. So this might have an ingredient of that. But when it comes to crackers and any salty foods, they don't really put as much as how they put that on their soups and
Okay.
their noodles. So it's
Okay.
not really a big deal. Yeah, that's it for the snack of the day.
That was a snack of the day. Do you have any ideas for the next one?
Yes, I do.
You do have
But
ideas. All right, we'll keep it a surprise then.
yeah, we always
Right.
keep it a surprise. And yes, I am ready to talk about safety in Japan. Like, how safe is Japan?
Yes. How safe really is Japan, especially from like the point of view of kind of an outsider, right? Because you're not from there. You've just moved there a few years ago.
Well,
And like
basically,
there is a certain level of perception about Japan,
mm-hmm,
and there is actually living there and experiencing it, right? And a lot of people think that, like from what we see from the outside, like for instance from what
mm-hmm,
I see from the outside, that Japan would be a pretty safe place, right? You don't really hear about stuff happening there. You don't really hear about shootings happening. You don't hear about
mm-hmm.
really violent crimes happening. But now let's talk about what the reality of things are. How is it? How is it over there?
Yes, in general, we can say that it is a safe country. In fact, according to safearound.com, it is ranked 26th of the world's safest country.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. And however, there are some places that the country is not really safe. And there are two types of places that aren't safe. Number one is the red light districts, and the second one is the slums, which is, like it's very common to every country in the world. But before that, let's talk about the safe side of Japan and
Right.
why do people, especially the tourists from here, consider that the country is very safe. Number one, honesty is very well practiced in Japan, and we're talking about like pure honesty. I'm gonna give you an example.
Right.
So most tourists are probably I would say not most. Some tourists don't really use their heads.
You don't say. Some tourists like that's just plain dumb
they're
sometimes.
just they're just not careful on things. Um, it's probably because they think that, oh, Japan is safe. I don't mind putting my bag behind my chair when I'm
Hmm.
eating. I mean, it's totally accepted in this country because, yeah, that's true. Nobody will bother pickpocketing you or like stealing something from you. No, nobody will bother that, definitely. And if you ever experience something being stolen from you, I'm sure that's not Japanese.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
That's probably another, another foreigner, trying to steal things
Yeah. I mean,
around.
I mean, there are always people like that, right?
Yeah. I have a lot of experience. Yes, I have to admit, I'm dumb too.
Okay.
I have some experiences where I was very new in the country, and okay, it was when I started living here in Hokkaido.
Okay.
And stupid me, I was at the ATM machine and I was just panicking over a lot of kanji over there. Yes, I did use the English version at first because I couldn't read Japanese at that time.
Right.
But it was so advanced. I'm like, oh, what should I do? What should I do? Oh, okay, here, here, here. And then after that, I was, like really panicky and everything. And then it was winter. So I was, putting on my clothes, putting on my gloves and everything. It's my first time experiencing winter. So everything is just new to me. And I was panicking, like, where should I go? What should I do? Oh, I should wear this. Okay, I gotta go now. And then after an hour, when I came back home, I realized that I forgot my ATM card. Woo!
That's not good.
I was like, oh my God, of all the things. I never experienced this in the Philippines. Why did I experience it here? And I was so nervous, right? I went back, and guess what? It's still there.
Wow.
Nobody touched it at all.
I was
And I
lucky.
was like, I just realized that I forgot my ATM card probably around 2 hours after.
Okay.
I mean, when I already finished doing the chores, and then when I checked on my wallet, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna put all my savings here. What the? My ATM card is not here. Yeah, that was 2 hours after, but I'm so happy because when I came back, it's still there.
2 hours later, you just rushed back from where you came from, and it was still just there waiting for you.
It was just there, the exact place where I put it, and yeah, nobody touched it.
Wow.
Another incident, yeah, I know this kind of a little shallow. So it was raining, right? It was raining, and I was panicking again. I always panic. Went to the phone store to inquire about something,
Okay.
and then I went back home, and then I realized, oh my God, I forgot my umbrella. The thing though is that umbrellas are very what do you call that? Like very spicy in the eyes of the people, especially if it's raining.
Okay.
Attractive. There you go. Attractive, spicy. Attractive in the eyes
I mean, you
of
can be
people.
both attractive and spicy. I don't see a problem with that, but you know.
So yeah, I again the usual thing. After a few hours, I'm like, oh no, I forgot my umbrella. When I came back to the store, it's still there.
Wow. That probably would not happen here. And I live in Vancouver, where it rains about 2/3 of the time.
Uh-huh.
So people have umbrellas. Most people have umbrellas. And around the time, if you forget your umbrella somewhere, first reaction is like, oh well, I'll get another one because it'll be gone.
Yeah, it's
Like
the same thing in the
like
Philippines.
like we use umbrellas so much that first of all they're not super expensive. You can buy them anywhere, and like people just don't really care about them. Yeah, like where I work, the numbers of umbrellas we get, I don't want to say every day, but especially during the rainy seasons, is
Mm.
is pretty insane. Like we have so many, we end up just throwing them away because
Whoa, what a waste, man.
because we can keep them because people keep forgetting them.
Right.
I have like 5 umbrellas at home. I didn't
Yeah.
buy a single one of them.
What? That's
Oh,
crazy.
actually, I lied. I bought one of them.
You lied.
Because one of them is a special one. But like all the other umbrellas I have, I didn't even need to buy them. I was at work and it started
Uh-huh.
pissing rain, and I'm like, oh damn, it's raining. I don't have an umbrella. I just nope. Look in the last and found at work. It's like 6 of them there. I'll just pick one up and that's it.
You're evil.
Because like nobody picks them up. people leave them behind and they never come back for them. Like sometimes they do, but it's really rare. So no, after a few days, if an umbrella is here and nobody's picked it up, they probably just not gave up on it,
Yeah, I guess so.
right?
Another thing that I like about people here is that they just return every single thing, even your wallet, even whatever. They just, in fact, I remember when I was rushing to, I know I'm always rushing, when I was rushing to the train and out of the blue, I just forgot my umbrella. I don't always think about umbrellas. And there's this student who really rushed and followed me up to the last point, up to the last step of the stairs, and she
Yeah.
was like, of course in Japanese, she was like, oh, excuse me, you forgot your umbrella. And I was like, I was so embarrassed. I'm like, oh my god, thank you so much. And like she took the time to give me the umbrella instead of just thinking, oh, I'm gonna be late, so that's her
Right.
problem.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
She took the time to rush herself just to return the item to me.
That's nice.
Yeah, and it's not just that. Like people are really polite. Like if especially if they see a foreigner around, like if they're confused about how to get tickets, how to which train they should go,
Right.
they just they walk towards you and they try so hard in English. Unfortunately, some of them can't really, so they speak in Japanese. They're like, oh, should I help you? Can I help you? Do you want me to buy you the ticket or something? Which way do you want to go? And they will really spend their time to take you there.
That's pretty cool.
I mean, people. We know Japanese people are very sensitive to time, right?
Yeah.
They do as much as they can not to be late on their destinations. But whenever they see people who are confused or who needs help or who are in trouble, they do their best to help them out.
Right.
But again, this is not always the case. I'm talking about some situations
Right.
because every place is different, especially in Tokyo. You wouldn't really experience that in Tokyo, probably in other areas, but
Yeah,
not Tokyo.
I guess it depends. Yeah, it depends on the area, how big the city is, and
Yeah.
maybe even like which part in the city itself. It's kind of the same here in Vancouver, right? Whereas Canadian people, for the most part, are nice people. Uh,
How come you're not convinced they're most part nice
okay,
people?
I've been working in the service industry for the last 20 years. I've seen some
Mm-hmm.
shit, man, and some stuff.
Oh,
So
okay.
let me know. People in general are not very nice, but some of them are. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Canadian people, for the most part, are okay. Um, they have their asshole. Not gonna lie, everybody has them.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it really depends on where you are in the area.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like if you go in like quieter districts in the city, it's usually more friendly. If you go in really busy parts of the town or like kind of rundown parts of the city,
Mm-hmm.
um, things can be a little bit more iffy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like we have, like I don't know how it is in Japan, but here, like in Vancouver, we have a whole part of Vancouver that's not recommended for people not from here to walk around, especially late at
Uh-huh.
night.
Wow.
Because the areas with problems, there's a lot of homelessness, there's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
drug use and stuff like that. Um, like it doesn't mean like you're gonna get attacked if you walk there, but like
Right.
it's not necessarily recommended to linger around for too long, depending on the time of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, it really depends. Really depends on the place and time, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm assuming it's kind of the same in Japan as well. Like you have some, and again, I'm just talking from what I've seen from the outside, right? Because I
Mm-hmm.
haven't lived there. But like if you look at big cities like Tokyo, which has its own, like district, right? You have the business district. You have like the red light district, like all those
Mm-hmm.
things, right? But even for those parts, if you go at 1 p.m., it's gonna look a lot different than if you go at 2 a.m., right?
Yeah,
Kind of thing.
definitely. Mm-hmm. So, for listeners out there, if you have any reactions, you can always share on the chat. And yeah, we can read them for you if you want. Okay, for the next one of the things that makes Japan safe is road policies are strictly observed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like what?
Oh, now that you've asked me that. Okay, so there are very rare cases of road violations, and majority of drivers, passengers, and pedestrians are well mannered and follow rules.
So what you mean to say is that Japanese people actually know how to drive.
Well, that's a good question. They What are you talking about? People who drive know. Oh yeah. That's a good question because okay, so in Japan, of course, it's very hard, right? It's
Hmm.
very difficult to get a driver's license.
Oh, really? Why?
It's very difficult. Like for me, when I got my license, it took me 3 tests to fail before I eventually passed.
Okay.
And like if they are, like if you're on the, what do you call that, on the test road, drive test,
Right.
if you're on the drive test, if you have a single mistake of turning, like turning your car and then suddenly you hit something, you don't pass.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay. So like we have kind of similar stuff here,
Mm-hmm.
where no, there are some occasions if something happens during your test, you will automatically fail. Um, so like obviously if you hit something, you're gonna fail. If the guy who is testing, the person who is testing you is actually doing something to the car,
Yeah.
you're gonna fail. Like if they grab your steering wheel to correct your course or whatever, that's it. Your game over. Kind of thing, right? Um, but this being said, I feel that here to
Mm-hmm.
pass the driving test, they pretty much give it out to pretty much anybody at the point. It feels like because when
Mm-hmm.
when you look at the way people drive here in Vancouver, it's actually pretty insane. Like I don't even. Sometimes it makes you wonder how is this person driving and how is this person still alive driving. Like I don't understand. Like I
Whoa,
don't understand.
really?
Like we have very strict rules about using cell phones and anything that can distract you when you're driving. You're not supposed to be
Uh-huh.
texting. You're not supposed to be on the phone while driving. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
in some cases, you can't even use your phone as a GPS while driving,
Whoa.
right? Like
Yeah.
if you have your phone, if you're using your phone as a GPS, it has to be mounted on the car
Mm.
to a
Yeah.
point where you don't have to actually reach for it, like
Yeah.
that kind of stuff, right? If it's next to you or on your lap or whatever, and you're using a GPS, you could get fined for that. A whole bunch
It's
of
the same thing here.
like a whole bunch of, but people don't care. People still do it. Like I see it all the time. I see it all the
Oh
time,
wow.
and we're getting like so many accidents because of that. Like just not too long ago, we had a big crash with like full on like front facing cars
Mm-hmm.
going at each other because someone's just stupid enough to do something else instead of
Right.
keeping the eyes on the road, right?
Well, don't get me wrong. There are a lot of car accidents here, ironically. But these are very rare cases. We're talking about it goes to the headlines because, like,
Right.
compared with the Philippines, like car accidents are just an ordinary thing in the
Like
Philippines.
if
It,
it feels like
yeah.
the Philippines, from what I've seen when you were still living there, is that
Uh huh.
it's kind of like, are there even rules over there? It's like people kind of like drive on their space. It's like to each his own. Let's go, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's a thing. So compared with Japan, the Philippines is very not really observant with street rules. The thing
Right.
is, yeah, in the Philippines, we do have rules. Yes, we do. The bad thing is,
Nobody
not a
cares.
lot of us really follow them. Yeah. And like getting a license in the Philippines is so easy.
Is it?
Like seriously, we have fixers there. Yes, I know that. We have we have fixers there. We have, people paying something under the table just
Right.
to let them get the license and everything. This is like so common in other third world countries, as we
Mm,
all know.
right.
But in Japan, you cannot do that. And when you are on the road, it's probably because it's a domino effect because people do this in general. So you would, like everybody's like following the rules, everybody's like being polite and
Mhm.
everything. So the others would be like, oh, I should behave as well because everybody's behaving. I don't want to, I don't want to
Right.
be in the spotlight.
Right.
But then again, as like other countries in the world, there are assholes here as well, but not as common as what we have in the Philippines and, and other countries that I don't even want to mention.
Yeah.
To give you an idea, right? Yeah, I know, I represent my country. So I just got my license, right? I just got my license in March, and that same year on April, it was like around 8:30 in the evening, and there was like not a lot of cars already. Like everybody's almost, sleeping, and there's not a lot of vehicles around. And I was driving, and then the red light suddenly turned on, and I'm like, who cares? And and then woo, 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 and I was like, what was that? It was the police.
Yep. There you go. That's what you get for running a red light.
To cut the story short, yes, to they had a way to talk with me. They couldn't speak with me in Japanese because at that time I couldn't really talk
Right.
in Japanese. I couldn't speak in Japanese. So guess what? They have a card, a catalog in English version. They're like, oh,
That's
you
funny.
can't speak Japanese. Please read. Onegaishimasu. And I'm like, oh my god, I have no choice. Do you know how much I paid for violating the, like for beating the red light?
I don't know.
9,000 yen. That's like
9,000 yen. That's like what, $100?
900. Yeah, is it $100?
Uh,
Not $90.
yeah, about 100
90
bucks.
US
Yeah.
dollars. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's like, to me, that's like in the Philippines, that's like almost 5,000 pesos, and that's like a month of grocery shopping for
Right.
the Philippines. My sister was really mad.
I'm sure she
Cloves,
was.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I know. Yeah, and next one is low tolerance for drugs.
Okay.
We're talking about no marijuana allowed.
That's true. That's a very Asian thing, I feel.
Really?
Like I can't really talk for Japan because you're pretty much the only person I know who lives in Japan right now. But I do have quite a few Korean friends
Uh-huh.
who either live in South Korea right now or live here but come from South Korea.
Okay.
And it's the same thing over there. It's like zero drugs. Like
Whoa.
when they come to Canada,
Uh-huh.
or like either on the work visa, on a student visa, or whatever, like they have to assure the government in South Korea that they're not going to do drugs here. Like they
Oh.
are not allowed to do like weed here, even though weed is legal here in.
It is. I'm like, that's so cool.
It's actually legal here in BC and some parts of the US, but
Mm-hmm.
like if the Korean government finds out that one of their citizens comes here, does drugs and goes back home, they could get in trouble for it.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah. They have like some really hard punishment for people doing drugs in South Korea. Like there's prison time and all that stuff. It's pretty
Mm-hmm.
insane. I don't know how it is in Japan, but yeah, it feels like it's a very Asian kind of thing.
I guess so.
Yeah.
And listen to this. Paris Hilton, the Rolling Stones, and Paul McCartney have all been famously denied entry into Japan due to previous drug convictions.
Right.
Japanese entertainers expected to be role models apologize to their fans on national television if they are caught using drugs. So I remember one of the boy band idols in Japan. Um, yeah, he was accused of using marijuana, and they were able to prove that.
Right.
What the national TV did was they made him. I don't know if I think it was voluntary for him to do that, but he did apologize, and in front of the cameras, he really bowed on the floor,
Yeah.
like the Japanese way, like
Hmm.
doing that. Although I have to say, is that really sincere? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, like at this point in time, because of especially when you're talking about idols or like famous people, it's like
Mm.
are they really trying to save face or are they trying to protect the company hiring them, kind of thing, right?
Ooh, why do you know this?
Right? Uh, I don't know, like no, I've been a lot into like gaming industry and all that stuff,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I kind of
Mm-hmm.
follow and understand how some of those things work.
Ooh.
I've also been a lot into K-pop for the past couple of
Mm-hmm.
years, right? And I follow a lot of idols and a lot of those agencies, and I try to kind of
Right.
understand how it works because
Mm-hmm.
because you know me, like aside from enjoying something, I actually like knowing how it works, like
Yeah.
how it's made and where it's coming from and all that stuff. Right? And I kind of see
Mm-hmm.
that with the gaming industry and with the K-pop industry. Like
Mm-hmm.
another example in Japan is one of the voice actors for one of the Yakuza games, I think it was.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Same got caught doing drugs or some shit,
Oh
uh,
wow.
right? And
Must be influenced by the game.
but but because but because he is a prominent voice actor in such a big game,
Yeah.
the company that makes the game had to like do full on like apology and all that stuff, and like he
Wow.
got removed from the credits, and like it was insane. Like
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
they made like a big deal out of that just because the
Mm.
guy had just a freaking joint. Like, come on, man.
Yeah. The thing is that especially teachers around here, if they do something that would ruin the reputation of the school,
Right,
they will be on the headlines.
right.
And that's how serious violation is in Japan.
And that's the thing, right? Is that like that's why I'm wondering if when that happens and when you see all those apologies and stuff, like are they doing it for themselves
Mm,
because they're ashamed of what they've done, or are they
right.
doing it to kind of like protect the people that they're working for, right? Because
That's a good
there's a whole
question. Yeah.
image, right? Like if a teacher is caught doing something bad, it's not just the teacher that looks bad; it's the whole school that looks bad, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
That's why they have to do all those things. So we can be like, oh look, it's not the school's fault; it's just that guy who's
Hmm.
bad, kind of thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Anything else that you would like to add before we
Um,
move on to the next?
uh, not
Any
really,
reactions from the listeners?
not right now, no, sadly. But no, I don't like. I mean, those are problems that you see in Japan,
Hmm.
like not very consistently, and when you do see
Mm-hmm.
them, it's kind of a big deal, right? Like we're talking about drugs, we're talking about car accidents and stuff like that. And it's kind of funny because here it happens all the time. It's all the
Wow.
time. Like where I work, I can literally see drug deals happening in front of my store.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Don't ask about the Philippines though.
Well, haven't lived in the Philippines. I only heard things, but like
You
here,
don't have to.
like like here, I don't want to say it's a common thing because
Yeah.
again, it's not like you don't find drugs at every corner, and you don't have car accidents all the time. Like it's not like that. But
Yeah.
when it happens here, the reaction usually is like meh, just move on.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow. It's amazing to hear that because it is the same in the Philippines, but when I came here, I don't know. The way I see things just changed because here everything that is wrong becomes a headline and people overactingly react. Well,
yeah,
is that a word? Like
of,
they overact, they overreact. Like if there's a headline about a car accident, they'll be like, "Oh my god, did you see that? There was a
mhm.
car accident in this district," and they're like, "Really? That's crazy." No, seriously. I mean, they would be like, "Oh my god!" Like
That's
the way
funny.
they react is like they feel like it's a big deal.
Yeah, but maybe because it doesn't happen that often, right?
It does happen often, but probably it's because they try as much to keep the country safe.
Right.
So anything that is, anything that goes wrong makes them feel, oh my god, why did this happen? You know,
Right.
the kind of perfectionist thing
Yeah.
in their
Like when happens is
yeah,
when happens is really the thing that just should not have happened kind of thing.
exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Next one is zero tolerance for drinking and driving.
Okay, that's a good one. We
Yeah,
do
it
have
is.
that one too.
Oh, really?
Kind of.
Okay.
We'll talk
Now,
about
I'd like to, yeah, I'd like to share this. Zero tolerance means no alcohol when driving. Period.
that.
I
Zero.
remember, yeah, zero, like a really zero.
Okay.
It's a big issue here. Like if you really try to drink and drive, people will shame you.
Okay.
I remember when I was like telling Shingo, "Oh, I'm going to the club at this time, blah blah blah," and he's like, "Are you driving?" And I'm like, "No, but maybe sometime I would, and probably I'll just drink a alcohol or two." And he's like, "I will not allow you to do that." And I heard a lot of, what do you call that? Like corrections from him. Like he
Right.
he he scolded me a lot of times.
Right.
And there was always a time when he was the one driving, and I invited him to a bar, and he's like, "Okay, you can drink whatever you want. I'm just not gonna drink." And I'm
Right.
like, "Just one sip." And he's like, "No, you want me in trouble?" So like to sum up everything, people here are really scared of trying it,
Okay.
like drink and drive. It's a really really scary case because if the police catches you even just a sip, like if they find out that you're drinking and driving, you will lose your license forever.
Oh wow. That's pretty hard.
Yeah. And like if you put yourself into court and you win in a court, you get your license after 5 or 10 years.
Mm.
And yeah, that's pretty much it. So it's very very strict in Japan,
Wow.
drinking and driving.
That's pretty crazy. Actually should do that here too, to be honest. Because
Yeah.
here it's not like that. Here, yeah, there is a tolerance. Um,
Okay.
depending on your level of driver's license. Because
Uh-huh.
here in North America, you have 2 or 3 different levels. I can't remember. 3. You have 3 levels of driver's license. You have when you're a learner, so you're basically still learning how to drive, but you are allowed to drive with someone who
Is that like some kind of student license
yeah,
card?
yeah.
Okay.
Like it's like you're a student driver, but you can drive anytime, or almost anytime. Um, oh no, we lost Jenny. We lost Jenny. What's going on? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. We lost you.
And we are back. What happened?
You're back. I don't know. That was weird. Call cut. Okay, now I need to fix
Wow,
this
first thing
thing.
that happened in Holy Shiitake history.
That's actually the first time it's happened to us, where it actually cut off.
Yeah, probably the police caught me.
God damn
But
it.
yeah, you were saying.
Hold on, let me fix your
Okay.
that messed up the whole thing. All right, so like
Oh, I'm so sorry.
no, it's not your fault. So like 3 levels of driver's license. Right, we have the student driver who can drive anytime as long as they're with someone who's had their license for how many years, and then you
Mm-hmm.
have the new driver's license. So
Right.
you can drive by yourself,
Mm-hmm.
with some restrictions. So that includes 0% alcohol at all, zero alcohol. You can drive after a certain time. You can drive with more than a certain amount of people in the car and stuff like that. And then after that, you get your full license.
Whoa.
At which point, you can drive as many people as you can fit in the car, and you can drive at any time, and you can drive with up to zero point 0.5, whatever it is, alcohol. So you can actually go out, have a drink. Usually it's about one drink. Have one
Mm-hmm.
drink and still drive. And if you're getting pulled over and they do an alcohol test on you and they find out you're under the limit, the it's just gonna let you go. Yeah.
Wow.
Um, but if you are caught with too much alcohol in the system, then it's pretty harsh. But they're not like they're not gonna take away your license like on the spot forever. Like at most they're gonna impound the car, so they're gonna
Mm-hmm.
take your car and take your license away until you settle it, and then you're just gonna get them back eventually.
I see.
Yeah.
Well, wait till you hear from the Philippines.
Okay, what's going on in the Philippines? You can just drive drunk and be fine.
So anyone can get a license, right?
Yep.
Just pay. And then even if you didn't finish schooling, like most of the jeepney drivers that we have, and you commit an accident, and because you're poor, you can't pay the person who owns the car that you damaged, and that's pretty much it.
Wow.
Some cases, they lose their license, but probably after a week they're gonna be like, oh, I'm just gonna go to the land transportation office and just pay a fixer, and then I'll get another license.
Just get it back. Wow.
Yeah, and then you get a brand new license.
Crazy.
Welcome to the Philippines. And I'd like to share this too. So when people go for a drink, right, they call for a taxi. This is Japan, all
Right.
right?
Okay. Okay.
They call for a taxi or a daiko, a specialized taxi service that brings an extra driver to drive your car home while you hop in their taxi.
That's actually pretty cool. So a lot of people here do use taxis to go home
Mm-hmm.
after going out for a drink.
Uh-huh.
I was out last weekend. Was it last weekend? Yeah, it was last weekend. A friend of mine who is also a Filipino, by the way, um,
Mm-hmm.
was celebrating her birthday, and she wanted to go out and have a few drinks at a place that her cousin owns or whatever, something
Mm-hmm.
downtown. So we met up in the afternoon with her and a couple friends. Had a few drinks before going to that place. We used the transit to go to that place. Nobody drove. We used like the train system to go there.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got joined by other people. Some of them who drive, but because we're all sitting there and we had quite a few drinks, not lie. Um, like most of them actually just cabbed home. They just took a taxi home. I took a cab home because first of all I left late and the trains were like not working anymore, or some were, but
Mm-hmm.
not the ones that I wanted. So me and a friend of mine, we took a cab. I dropped her off at home with a cab, and then the same cab went home. So like that's a common thing that we have here. But that cab service, where they bring a second person to drive your car, that's actually pretty cool. I wish we had that here.
You guys don't have that
We
there,
we don't have that, and I don't understand why. That's such a good idea.
right?
Yeah.
And the good thing about this, it helps the taxi community in regards to economics.
Right.
Because like if drinking is very common in Japan. Well, probably most countries do.
Right.
And it's one way of people, especially the salarymen, to take a break or to relax.
Right.
And like in Canada, most train stations have a schedule until 12 o'clock in the midnight, and this is a chance for taxi drivers to get a go,
Right.
like especially this so-called daiko. This is the first time I heard, to be fair. I've never
Yeah.
heard of this. And most of the time if I go drinking, me and my friends really schedule that. Like, if, oh, we're going out, are we drinking or not? Oh, we're drinking. Okay, then in that case nobody's driving, we're going to take a taxi.
Right.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, most people, foreigners and locals, do this.
Right.
It's like it's a tradition. Like, if you're gonna drink, you make sure that you have a schedule what time you go home, or if you can't make it on a train, then take a taxi.
Right. Okay.
The thing with taxis, though, is that it's very expensive. So if you really want to take a taxi, make sure you have a lot of money with you.
It yeah, it's the same here. Taxis here can be quite expensive. Like I remember last weekend, um, we took the cab from downtown Vancouver
Mm-hmm.
all the way to New West City here, and then from New West to my place nearby. I'm gonna say where. I don't want someone. I don't want someone to swipe me. Um, but from downtown to the first place where my friend lives, and then from her place to my place, it cost me
Mhm.
like almost $70.
Whoa.
Yeah, like
Almost the same thing
like in-
here.
like including the tips. I gave the guy like a pretty nice tips, but like just the ride itself was like 60 something.
It seems that Canada and Japan have a lot of things in common,
Yeah,
right? Yeah. Okay. And anything else before we go to the last factor of safety in Japan?
I feel like I think I want. I forget. Whatever. Let's move
Yeah.
on. If I remember, I'll bring it up.
Okay. And the last one for the factors of safety in Japan is zero tolerance for guns.
Okay, so that's gonna be a tricky one if we have people from the U.S. watching us right now.
Yeah, very much. For the record, of 10 years, there's approximately only 11 cases of gun shooting in Japan. We're talking about 10 years. For a matter of 10 years, there's only of 11 cases of guns.
Like in 10 years, there's been only 11 shootings in 10 years.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. We're talking about all cases in general. Like there's a shooting going on. Somebody was caught having a gun, or somebody discovered that there's a residence or a resident what owning a gun.
Okay.
So these all these in total
Okay,
are
but
11 cases
so like
in 10 years.
is owning a gun legal? Like, can you actually
It
legally
is
own?
not.
So
It is not.
there's no way to legally own a gun in Japan.
It is very, very illegal. And if there is a person who owns a gun, it's like almost impossible.
Okay.
So
How
if there
about
is, yeah.
how about like police officers and stuff like that?
Oh, that's a good question.
Right?
I have to tell you that some, right? Should I admit this? Okay. Some policemen only bring toy guns.
Oh wow. Actually,
Yeah.
those. Wait. So like you're walking in the streets in Japan. You're in the middle of
Yeah.
Tokyo or Sapporo or whatever, and you see two cops patrolling there, and they're using freaking toy guns.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
so if you do something wild, what are they gonna be? They're just gonna pull out their toy gun and be like, bang, bang.
Bam, bam, bang, bang this, bang.
this is
She ne.
this is
Okay.
actually
I.
crazy. Like
It is.
to me that's
Well.
insane.
Okay. I need to clear that up. Um. I need to clarify that up. Not all policemen have toy guns on their pockets.
Okay, but
All right.
some do.
Some of them have real guns.
Okay,
All right. Because we cannot, as we all know, we cannot avoid criminal cases whatsoever, no,
right,
even if it's Japan.
right.
Because as long as, I'm sorry guys, as long as there are foreigners in Japan, there will always be crimes.
That's true.
But
No,
again, there are also some Japanese assholes around, like the Yakuzas, which we're gonna talk about later.
right. I think
But
it's just a human thing, right? Like even if
yeah.
most humans behave and walk in the same line, there's always gonna be one or two that are gonna be like, freak that, and just do their thing.
Yeah. Okay, so I have to tell you guys that not in fact, not all policemen own a gun. Some of them only own clubs, or I don't know what else they, what do you call that?
Batons.
They don't even own the one with the electrifying
Oh, yeah,
thing. What do you call
they
that?
don't even have tasers.
Yeah, yeah, that one. They don't.
Oh,
They don't. They don't. They, and the thing is that when there is a crime going on, like say for example a robbery or violation in the road or somebody just doing something that is against the law, policemen come in groups.
Okay.
Like we're talking about 5 to 10 people, and they're gonna do their best to stop the guy. Like they're gonna,
Yeah.
they're gonna make sure they put their hands together and they put them in the, what do you call that,
And the
in
cuffs.
the handcuffs.
Yeah.
But as much as possible, they try not to shoot the person.
Okay, which is fine. Like I'm totally okay with police officers not shooting anybody. I'm okay with that. But just for like it just
Are you still shocked about the
I
toy gun thing?
I am in shock because okay, right. I am by no means a gun advocate. Okay, I'm not pro guns. I don't care. My take on this, especially for people from the U.S. watching us, is that if you got your gun legally, that's fine. Enjoy your gun. Just don't shoot anybody with it. Okay, that's it. I just wanted to preface with that. But okay, so like, what if there's a freaking robbery happening? Like in Pulp Fiction style. Everybody
Yeah.
hands here. This is a robbery, and you actually have armed men doing the robbery. Again,
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's unlikely, but it could happen. So you're gonna have a bunch of 10 dudes, police officers, coming like a football team,
Yeah.
wearing batons, trying to be
Yeah.
like, "Stop it! Don't do this!" And the guys doing the robbery with the guns, they're gonna be like, "What are you trying to do here?" Like, I'm so
the,
confused. How does that work?
that's the thing. That's the thing. Robberies in Japan don't necessarily have guns.
So like, how do they do the robberies? Is that like a bunch of dudes coming with the batons and be like, "Give me your money"?
Well,
And then you have the
in most
cops coming
cases,
with their batons and be like, "No, don't give the money."
I, in most cases, there are some threats, such as bomb threats,
Okay.
but not like in what we see in American Hollywood movies,
Yeah.
like like they're doing the gun thing and like give me the money kind of thing. They don't do that in Japan. Most of the time, they just announce, okay, we got a bomb. We're gonna blow this up. Just give me your money. And unfortunately, the people are like, oh, just don't blow the bomb. You're gonna ruin the building. So yes, here's the money.
Like, fuck our safety.
I've
You're
seen this on news.
you're gonna
I've
ruin the.
seen this in the news.
It's like, fuck my safety. You're just gonna ruin the building. Here's the money.
But yeah, I've watched some cases on the news that there were some robbery that happened in a bank,
Okay.
and the culprits didn't own a real gun. In fact, they brought themselves toy guns and a fake bomb.
That's funny.
So they're like showing the people, oh, we got guns here and we got a bomb, and these people immediately believe that. And
That's
they
funny.
panic and they're like, please don't hurt us. This is your money.
It's because I guess they're so not used to see those. Like they're probably not
I guess
used.
so.
They're not used to seeing guns and all that stuff. That when it looks like it's actually a gun in real life, they freak out.
Yeah. And
Guess.
that's how extreme these people react to these things, because it's so rare
Hmm.
that whenever somebody tries to do that, they just, or maybe it's also because of what they see on the movies
Right.
that impacted them. They're like, oh, I've seen this on
Right.
American Hollywood shows. I don't want to be a victim, whatever.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Because they know what guns are, right? I mean, no, like I don't want to bring up history, but they've been in a couple wars in the past.
Yeah.
Like they know what it is to be shooting people and to be shot at.
Yeah.
Um, and they watch the movies. Like a lot of movies coming from Hollywood,
Mm.
some of them are fairly popular in Japan. So it's like it's not a new concept to them, but to know that even though it's not a new concept to them, that it's still so foreign that
Yeah.
that it's just like to them it's basically so impossible that it would happen to that
It is.
that someone can just come in and bring a toy gun that they bought at the dollar store 5 minutes before and rob a freaking bank with it.
Yeah. To be fair, right? To be fair, the toy guns that was confiscated from these culprits, they looked really real.
I mean, no, like
Like,
if you look, like there are some really good replicas that are being made
mm,
right now. Because if you look like airsoft guns and stuff like that, right? Like those like that shoot the little
Nerfs? No, just kidding.
not Nerf guns, but like they have some really good replicas, airsoft that shoot like
Yeah.
the little like plastic bullet thingy.
Mm,
Those can look pretty convincing. That's true. Can look pretty
yeah.
convincing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's insane. It's just it's crazy that dude.
You're still in shock
I am
about
I am
policemen
I am in
having.
shock because like it just okay. It makes me realize okay, Japan is a pretty safe place so far from everything we've said. As from everything we said, um, it feels like. Sorry, I have to up my microphone a little bit. Someone in the chat was saying wasn't loud enough. Um,
Oh, okay.
but like I could be walking in the street. I could be like attacked by someone, and a cop would come to help me
Yeah.
with a gun on his side, which is a freaking toy gun. So how is a cop gonna stop what's happening to me? Is he gonna go like all kung fu and shit? Or like I don't understand.
Yeah, that's a funny thing. A lot of policemen don't know how to do karate at all. But they
Wow.
don't get me wrong, guys. Don't get me wrong, guys. They got training. They got proper training how to stop felons. Unfortunately, when I ever see, you know, what footages on the news, most of them go in groups, and like they tackle the culprit.
Okay.
They don't shoot them on the ankle whatsoever. They come in groups and they try to tackle one culprit to
Okay.
put them in handcuffs, and it takes them what, 5 minutes, 10 minutes to do that.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, they try so hard not to harm the culprit. I
Okay.
think that's one of the purpose. They try as much as possible to keep everyone safe, even the offender.
Like I mean, which is fine. Like I get that. I understand, and I'm okay with that. And
Yeah, I'm okay
because
with that too.
because no, it's not because a person is doing something bad that they necessarily deserve to be hurt like that. Like I'm not saying that someone who is like assaulting someone else deserves to
Yeah.
get shot. Like that's not what I'm
Yeah.
saying. But because I mean, in a way, like if you actually make sure that the perp is going to be okay, it's easier to actually prosecute them because it's going to be faster. You don't have not going to have to
Yeah.
wait for them to get better so you can have them in court. You can put them in jail a lot faster. So I'm okay with that. But still, like the fact that like it almost feels like people think that the place is so safe that they don't actually need any like extra safety things for it. Like
Yeah, I guess so.
they don't even need to have real guns on them. It's insane. They just need to have toy guns in their pocket.
Still shocking you. I can see that in your face. You're still shocked.
Yeah, like that's
I
insane.
am shocked too. Don't get me wrong. I am shocked too because this is not happening in the Philippines.
That's
Not
insane
happening
to
at
me.
all.
Like I see cops every day at work. Every day I have cops coming into my store, and so like I'm
Oh
used.
my god.
Yeah, so like no, they just come in and grab their thing and then go out. See, like it's part of their thing, right? They come in, they grab their coffee, they grab their breakfast, and then they
Right.
go do the patrols and stuff. Like I see a lot of those every day. So so I basically see guns every day because they have guns on them, right? And like a sort of things happening in the area I'm in right now. Sometimes it's sometimes it's sort of agitated. So like I mean I'm like I don't want to say I'm used to seeing guns, but I kind of am in a way.
Yeah.
So like to me, thinking that there's a place like Japan where you can have cops walking with toy guns in their pocket, but not just that, just thinking that that is enough for everybody else to be like, oh shit, we better not do anything. It's insane,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And I have to add this as well. So I'd like to share that in the Philippines, every store has a security guard,
Okay.
right? Japan doesn't almost have any at all.
Because I feel like they don't need it,
They don't need
right?
it, right? There are no security guards. The only time, right? The only time there would be security guards is when there will be a special event. Like,
So
say, for
weird,
example, Halloween in Shinjuku, there
right?
would be security guards.
Okay.
If there's Christmas going on in this event and foreigners will be involved, there will be
But
security guards.
that's what it kind of feels like. It's like if it's like a big event that's gonna attract a lot of tourists, then maybe it's
Yeah.
worth having those security stuff because you
Yeah.
don't like I don't say that no the Japanese authorities are necessarily scared of the tourists, but they just don't really know what could happen, kind of thing,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
Because if it
Exactly.
was if it was like an exclusively Japanese thing that most people didn't give a shit about except for Japanese people, then you kind of no you can expect what's going on like to some extent like people are
Yeah.
pretty well organized and orderly about that, so like that's why
Yeah.
maybe security can be a little bit more lax, and for bigger events it's like oh shit the big Christmas thing, that's a big thing at whatever in that place that everybody
Mm,
talks about in the news all over the world. We're gonna have like a lot of people from other countries. We're gonna have the security there because we don't know
exactly.
what's gonna happen.
Yeah. I remember one time, so I take this station almost every day for work. And because autumn season is coming, and that means onsen season is coming, and
Right.
onsen means public baths. And a lot of Koreans, a lot of Chinese people, a lot of Asian tourists come to Hokkaido for that.
Okay.
Out of the blue, there were bodyguards in every corner, and I was shocked. I'm like, "What's going on? Why are there? Why are there guards
Wow.
around here?" And then one of my American friends were like, "Oh, it must be because it's the onsen season. It's winter season. There will be a lot of foreigners going on in
Hmm.
the station." And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, because we never see this on summer. Like,
Right.
like in the low season, there are absolutely no bodyguards whatsoever, no security guards. There's nothing."
Hmm.
And I think that's the reason why, like people here, no matter local or foreigners who have been staying in Japan for quite a long time already, we tend to panic in small matters
Okay.
of incidents
Right.
like that. Like for me, I don't usually panic like this in the Philippines because this is so common. But when I got here, I tend to be, like something unusual happens and I'm like, what's going on? Why
Right.
is it like this? This is not supposed to be happening like
Well,
that.
yeah, because you get used to your environment, right?
Yeah.
That's what happens. Okay.
Exactly. All right. So before we move on, we have some announcements. Holy Shiitake is now on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Please like us on Facebook and search for Holy Shiitake Podcast. And follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Just type Shiitake Podcast. You can watch our videos on YouTube as well. So please subscribe and enjoy all episodes of Holy Shiitake.
Yay.
Yeah,
That's
that's it.
that's it. Nice. And
Anything else that you'd like to add?
And as always, links are available in description under the video on
Yes.
YouTube. If you're watching us live right now, you can just type exclamation point holy social. You get all those links to the social media. You can just click on them
Mm-hmm.
and add us directly from there.
Okay. Now, without any further ado, was that right?
Yeah.
Let's go to the danger side.
All right, let's go to the danger side. So
Yeah.
we spent like about an hour talking about how safe Japan is.
Because it is safe in
Because
general.
I mean, like yeah, like seeing like hearing about all those things, it is a pretty safe place, especially when you compare it to
Mm.
other places in the world. But doesn't mean that nothing's happening there. So let's talk about that. What are some of the things that we may or may not encounter if we go visit there, maybe?
Right. So earlier I mentioned about the two factors that make it not so safe. It's the red light neighborhood and the slums.
Right.
So most one of the notorious cities are actually, of course, in Tokyo, which is in Kabukicho. This is the first time I heard this place.
Okay.
So Kabukicho is oh, we have a photo of Kabukicho.
We do have a photo.
Yes. So while Florent is showing the photo, I'd like to say something about this place. It is actually the biggest red light district on Earth. I don't know if we are exaggerating on this, but yeah, the record says that it is the biggest red light district.
Right.
And sadly, it attracts freaks and criminals. Freaks!
Freaks and criminal.
Freaks! How do you define freak?
Um, I don't know. I don't know if it should. It's very judgmental, I feel, but you know.
Yes. Well, if I'm going to give you an idea about freaks in Japan, they are really creepy. Which I'm going to share a little later because I am one of a victim of those freaks.
All right.
Yeah. So as we all know, red light district equals all those unnecessary actions,
Yeah.
theft, what else? What else? Sabotaging or whatever, theft again.
Okay.
Probably unexpected stabbings of
Unexpected
some certain kinds. I don't know.
stabbings.
I don't know.
All right.
I don't know how to describe them. Yes, and another place is in Roppongi in Tokyo. We also have a photo of that, the spider thingy.
Okay. That
Roppongi is
I'm not gonna
yeah,
lie.
Roppongi is
That
yeah.
actually creeped me out when they sent me that pictures because
I'm so sorry. I forgot that Florent has a phobia of spiders. Oh my god, I'm so sorry for it.
because I'm actually like Jenny said, I'm actually scared of spiders, and yeah,
Oopsies.
yeah. When I saw that, I was like,
My
oh
bad.
shit! Why is a giant spider walking around here?
You should not go to Roppongi then.
Probably not.
This is kind of weird because Roppongi literally means 6 trees. I don't know why.
Huh.
Roku, and Roku is 6,
Six,
and
right?
Ki is trees. Roppongi making it 6 trees, but
Oh,
I don't know why there's a spider over there. Doesn't have any connection with Roppongi.
yeah. It has
Right.
8 legs. How does that work?
Well, that statue, the sculpture is one of the landmarks in Roppongi. But yeah, to
Oh.
describe what it is, it's also a red light district, and sadly, most of the people in the red light districts are Filipinas. We're
Huh.
talking about Filipino women, not men. Filipino women.
Okay.
There was a time when I went to Tokyo to renew my passport, and I had to go to Roppongi among all the places because the Philippine embassy is there.
Okay.
That's kind of racist, maybe in a way. I don't know. Just because there are a lot of Filipinos in Roppongi doesn't mean you have to like place the immigration over there. But
Right.
I have no choice. Anyways, of course I went there in the morning, right? And all the stores, right? All the stores in every corner are closed, mainly because they are all bars and whatever you think about is there,
Okay.
right? And so I was walking there, and you know, it's like the usual danger zone. Like there are some spray paints on the wall, which I didn't expect. I'm like, this is Tokyo. It's kind of dirty, which I was a little bit surprised.
Okay.
Maybe it was done by the Filipinos. But anyway, I don't. What?
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. It's quite not what I expected in a Japanese city. It's
Okay.
unusual. It's dark. It's untidy. But yeah, I made sure I went home before dark.
Hmm.
But it's very known for danger spots and prostitution.
Okay.
And sadly, most of the prostitutes there are Filipinos. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then anything else you would like to say or react about what I just said. Were you able to show some pictures?
Yeah. Well, what?
I also want to share about the one of the famous bars and restaurants in Shinjuku. It's the robot bar.
The robot bar. Okay, hold on.
Just want to share though.
Let me open that. There we go.
It's really whoa. I mean, maybe for Asians, it's like uh, for Western people, it's like it's just an ordinary thing with a sparkly
Yeah,
kira kira kind of thing.
yeah. It's like it's not actually shocking to me. I guess.
Shocking to me.
Is it shocking to you? I don't know. Just like
It's shocking to yeah,
it's just like a lot of lights and
and pretty ladies.
some very scantily clad pretty ladies. That's all.
To me, it's kind of shocking because we do have red light districts in the Philippines, but not as fancy as that.
Okay.
And or I'm just not really experienced. Yeah, you can say that.
I guess. I'm not gonna lie. It's not necessarily a thing I really.
You do really?
I mean, like there's that kind of stuff pretty much everywhere, right?
Yeah.
At least for pretty much everywhere I've been to. It's not like that's why I'm like not surprised or shocked or anything because it's like it's a pretty common thing to me.
Yeah.
But like it's not necessarily something like a place I go to, so like I'm not familiar with it, right?
Right.
But it's not something I haven't seen before, kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
right?
One of the dangers also that involves bars and whatnot are, of course, the yakuza and the
Right,
usual gangsters in Japan.
right.
Yes, they still exist. They don't really exist as much as in the 60s and 70s,
Okay,
but they still do exist. Only that they are, what do you call that? They are not so loud. What do you call
okay.
that?
Well, I think right.
Discreet, yeah.
I think it's mostly because of the times we live in, right? Like there was a
Mm-hmm.
time when, like a lot of the time when we think yakuza, at least in our Western cultures, we think about the gangster, just like Japanese version of gangsters, right? It's like really,
Mm-hmm.
really rude people, violent people. The people
Yeah.
doing all the crimes. They're usually the people like going around, running the prostitution rings and like taking the money from people for
Mm.
protection. That stuff.
Right.
It's kind of like the Japanese mafia kind of thing, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
you have the mafia in Italy and here, in North America, and like in Japan you would have the yakuza. But
Yeah.
I feel that because times have evolved and
Mm-hmm.
because of where we're at right now, like the yakuza might still exist, just not in the capacity that we know them in, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's not like I don't think they're gonna be a bunch of guys wearing white suits and tattoos all over their body and just beating up everybody like anybody they want just because
Yeah.
because they're the cool guys who are making all the money. That's not good. That's not how it's working. Like I feel that it's gonna be kind of like we have the mafia today here in North America. They're
Mm-hmm.
gonna be like infiltrating like organizations and governments and stuff like that at lower levels, and
Mm-hmm.
that's how they're gonna run all those corruption rings and stuff like that and get that power from without having to actually beat up anybody,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Well, it may not sound that dangerous, but yes, they still do exist.
Yeah,
You just have to not go in places where they will be there,
right.
you know. But I just remember some of my friends who had a vacation in Tokyo like a few months ago, and they were so drunk that they accidentally went to a bar where there were yakuzas in there,
Okay.
and they were ladies. They're one of my friends was Scottish and the other one is American, and they were like so boisterous and like speaking in English all over, and it kind of disturbed these drinking yakuzas in the corner.
Mm-hmm.
And they were so drunk, and they're like, "Oh, look at these boys! They were so filled up with tattoos, and they were so drunk." and they were making fun of the yakuzas, that they were not aware they were yakuzas,
Right.
because somehow they were somehow kind of hiding the tattoos on their bodies,
Right.
but they were so drunk and out of control that they were, they started speaking in Japanese, like, "Hey, where you come from? We come from Scotland. I come from America." And then these yakuzas were like, "Are they trying to make fun of us?" And then, luckily, when they were about to, to attack my friends, there was a taxi that came. Probably they saw, the taxi driver saw the my friends, and they're like, "Taxi, taxi, taxi available, come here." So my friends were like, "Oh, taxi, bye."
That's funny. Wow.
I guess it was the taxi driver that saved my friends.
Okay.
Yeah, because like my friends were like, there was just the two of them. Nobody was stopping them.
Right.
Everybody, the people around them were just watching them, and because they are foreigners, white people, to be
Right.
to be to be specific, and they caught a lot of attention, and people in the crowd just didn't want to bother because they knew they were messing up with yakuzas.
Mm-hmm.
And gladly, probably the taxi driver saw that, and he saved my friends.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty intense. Like I'm still wondering like how like those guys, the Yakuza guys, like actually would have
Yeah,
like what they could have done, what they would have like how they would have reacted because like I mean they obviously knew that your friends were not from here because obviously the
yeah.
white girls probably speaking some broken Japanese like completely drunk like they knew they were not from here so like I wonder how they would have reacted to this because no, obviously you always have that image of the yakuza that's it, no, a little short-tempered and always looking for a fight kind of thing.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
like, is it the reality of things, or would they have just like made fun of them back, or like I don't know, or just like talk back to them,
They might probably
or
they
maybe
might probably pull them, take them to their no what to their places, and rape them eventually.
like that's a thing, right? Like, is it something that could have happened, or is it something that maybe we can imagine could have happened, but not likely? It's like it's so many questions. It's hard to tell,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
Gladly, it didn't happen to them,
Yeah, it's
right?
good.
And thank you for Mr. Taxi Driver.
I know, right? Wow.
Yeah, okay, so let's move on to one of the factors, which is homicide and unpredictable cases of murder.
They have those in Japan?
Yeah,
I mean,
you
no.
don't know?
Aside from Yakuza shit, they have they have actually people killing each other? Wow.
Oh, this is very common in
Okay.
Japan, just so you know.
Okay.
Yeah. So, in fact, there are more cases of murder than theft, robbery. What else? Um, yeah, most cases are murder, and we're not talking about guns. We're talking about creative ways to murder someone.
Well, I mean, they have to have creative ways to murder somebody since they don't have guns.
Yeah, right? Some
So,
of them, some of them are the obvious materials which you can find in the kitchen.
right.
And one of the causes why there's murder is because remember that Japanese people don't really show their emotions.
Mm-hmm.
And when they get, when they lose their temper, they just throw it into actions. If you remember, like, what happened to the studio in Kyoto, the animation studio in Kyoto,
Right, right.
people, about 75 people were burned
Yeah,
inside the building, not because of an accident. It was a murder case.
right.
And the culprit was not a staff of the studio. In fact, he was an outsider. And probably there was a rivalry going on, and he was very disappointed, and he just wanted revenge. So what he did was, yeah, he threw what he threw fire in a certain place where there's gasoline
Okay.
in that room, and the studio is almost made up of wood, so
Wow.
it just burned
Yep,
the
everything
entire
burned.
building in minutes, killing almost everybody.
That's
Is
crazy.
it almost everybody or everybody?
A bunch of people, yeah.
Yeah, and this became world news, right?
Yep.
So yeah, that was a case of one of the cases of murder. Another thing is that yeah, most murders also happened on public streets.
Okay.
Like, there was a time in May. It was a big news that happened. There was this guy who randomly stabbed children crossing the street, going home from an elementary school.
What
A
the
random
hell?
40-year-old guy, and out of the blue he was just really hysterical, and he randomly stabbed 11 kids to death,
Why?
3 p.m. in the afternoon.
That's insane.
It was
That's
crazy.
actually literally insane.
It is, and it was put on news,
Wow.
and I was shocked. I'm like, this happens in Japan? What?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm probably going to share the news on our Facebook page
Right. Yeah, yeah.
to show proof. But
To show,
yeah, so
to show proof. We believe you, but it's just like
we believe you,
it just
Jenny.
sounds so crazy because I mean, don't get me wrong, we have crazy shit happening here in North America all time, like all the time, all day, every day. Uh,
Yeah.
like many things that are so common now that people don't even
Mm.
talk about them anymore. Like
Yeah, right.
we were talking about shootings earlier and how like it's not a common thing in Japan, and like how we talked about how there was like 11 gun incidents in the last 10 years or some shit
Yeah.
in Japan. Like you go in the U.S., you have like 35 shootings a day
Oh my god.
across America. Like some stupid number like that. I don't know the exact number anymore, but like it's a ridiculous number like that. And so like hearing that kind of stuff, that like you could be walking in the street in Japan and you have a rando guy just walks by and starts stabbing people randomly
Right?
at 3 p.m. in the afternoon. That's crazy.
And these kids are, peacefully about to cross the what do you call it? The crosswalk. And then there's this, running guy with two knives on his hands, ran after the kids and stabbed them.
Right.
3 p.m.
That's crazy.
It was a big shock for the whole nation.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, that's pretty. Especially kids, right? It's like it hurts even harder when it's kids, right?
Exactly. And then after that he stabbed himself.
But at least we got rid of him.
Yeah.
I guess that's something. But yeah, it's pretty insane. Pretty insane.
It was pretty insane, and it did affect me, not a lot, until I became a victim of our last factor, why Japan would not be safe.
Right. So
It's
a little bit of a personal story there. Before we move to that, someone in the chat said, "I honestly would love to learn more real Japan stuff, as I want to understand what is good standards and properness." This is why, dude, you're watching us. That's what we're here for. If you want to learn more about Japan and what real Japan actually is through the eyes of someone who lives there, who has lived there for a few years now, just watch us. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Instagram. We have all the previous podcasts up on YouTube. You can watch that and learn a whole lot about it. And obviously, we're going to have more stuff coming through the coming year. But anyway, let's go ahead. What happened to you? You told me a little bit of it, not in too much details.
yes.
Last time I talked to you.
Mm-hmm.
But what
The
happened?
last fact, yes, the last factor is what we all know as stalking.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, stalking is as popular as homicide and murder cases in Japan, unfortunately, this is not really recognized by the government. So for Japanese government, stalking is not really dangerous unless the victim gets killed.
Right.
And I'm very concerned about this because in my experience, right? So it's my first year to live here in Sapporo, and then when I go to work, I stop by at this station, and I usually get in this specific number of the train. So that's car number 4,
Mm-hmm.
right? Car
And
number
like,
4, door number 13,
wow. And like
and
you say it's your first
yeah,
year, so it's your first year in Sapporo,
in Sapporo, yeah,
but before that you lived for about like 4 or 5 years in
in a countryside called Kyogoku.
Kyogoku. There we
So
go.
yeah, I lived in the countryside for 4 years, and this is my first year in the city
Right.
in Sapporo in
Right.
Hokkaido.
So it's
And
to kind of
yeah,
see the contrast of it, right? Because you were living in like a more rural, quieter area. Now you're
yeah,
and
much safer place.
right
Yeah.
now you're in a bigger city kind of thing.
Yeah, I am living in a bigger city, but I never thought that it would be that dangerous because as I knew, Japan is generally safe.
Right.
So I didn't care, I didn't care getting in the same train. I didn't care if people will stare at me. It's okay. I'm a gaijin. That's totally fine.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, sometime after my summer break, I noticed this guy, right, sitting in random places, staring at me like this.
Just staring at you.
Yeah. And then with a weird smirk staring at me. But in my mind I'm like, maybe it's just wondering who I am or whatever. I didn't really pay attention to that
Right.
until a few weeks after he literally stood in front of me and stared the same way he did stare at me, and I was a little bothered like that, and I was like, just get out of my way. And he didn't get out of my way. It took me like 10 minutes for me to try to, bug him off.
Okay.
And then at first I was, that's probably nothing. He's probably a weird guy. And then, like every Mondays, specifically, whenever I enter the same car, he's there. And I didn't really pay attention to that until one Monday I saw him again, and something in my mind was like, okay, maybe I have to change exits. I tried changing exits,
Right.
thinking that maybe he will not bother following me. Lo and behold, when I went to the waiting area, he was there.
That's
He
scary.
was there, sitting, waiting for me, staring at me in minutes. And I was shocked. I'm like, okay, this is confirmation. This guy is stalking me.
Yeah.
And then I tried to sit on a farther area, and I thought he's not going to bother. He's just going to go away.
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't. He stood up, turned back at me, and stared the same way he did when I was in the train. He did that 4 times.
Wow.
He was like far away and stared at me like that. Tried to go away and stared at me like that. Tried to go a little further, stared at me like that for 4 times. I was really shocked. I'm like, this is not happening. And I just waited for him to just leave, and then I took the bus.
Mm.
I reported this to my company, and the company just said, you know what, just change your schedules. And I'm like, what? You're not going to help me on this? And they're like, we can't. I'm sorry. As much as we could, we can't. Because number one, the police will not bother unless you're attacked. Number two, we are not allowed to take videos and photos of the offender because they can file a case against you.
All right.
And I was shocked. I'm like, this is an offense in Japan? By the way, guys, if someone is stalking you, you are not allowed to take a photo of them. You're not allowed to take a video of them. This is totally against the law.
That's kind of messed up, really.
And if you're a victim of some kind of shit, you are not allowed to scream. What?
How do you
What?
how do you call for help then?
Whistle.
Whistle. Damn, you're in trouble. You're
this
in,
is true, guys.
you're in
This is true. I
trouble if you
was
can't
really
whistle.
I was really disappointed. I'm like, can't I scream? Why can't I do that?
Yeah,
Because they're saying, oh, you're gonna, like you're gonna ridicule people. That's the point. You you
exactly.
you you catch attention, and people will look at you, but that's not the case. Like people. That's why I noticed some students they bring whistles with them. I'm like, why? Well,
Right.
there's no bears around here. But yeah, that's some of the reasons why they bring whistles with them. And the alarm thing, like they click on that and there's the alarm like that.
Oh.
If the alarm device, it's yeah, if they push that device, it has a common sound where people will recognize, oh, this person is in trouble,
Hmm.
which is funny, right? I mean, you could like just say, ah, thief, thief, or like,
Yeah.
oh, you what, you hentai, you what, hentai baka, like that. But you can't. I can't believe it. Seriously, I'm like, why can't you do this?
That sounds pretty crazy to me.
It is,
That
and I was very disappointed.
that you can just like call for help. Like it seems like a really basic human thing to do.
Right? And the worst thing is that the more gaijin you are, the more they will not help you out.
Right.
And I'm like, what is the difference of you being a victim and you're a foreigner? What's the difference between a Japanese and a foreigner being a victim of something, some kind of crime?
Well, the difference is that one is Japanese, the other isn't.
Oh,
I mean,
but yeah,
you know how it is. We've talked about it in previous episodes, but sadly, yeah.
exactly. So yeah, since then, guys, I saw Japan as not the way it used to be. Since then, I get scared, and in fact, when I rode the bus after that, I was so paranoid. Like my heart was beating so fast, thinking that some other guy would be staring at me or following me or whatever. And remember that it's so organized here in Japan. Everything is on time
Hmm.
that if you specifically, take the bus at this time, if you take the train at this time, you can easily be stopped.
Right. It's easy. Yeah, it's really easy to get the pattern right.
Exactly.
Because yeah, like you said, like people are so used to their routine kind of thing, right? Like they
Exactly.
take the like always the bus at this time or the train at this time. They like being in this car, like in this
Yeah.
door kind of thing, right? It's always kind of the same thing. So it's
Yeah.
like if you're a bad person and you kind of wanna do some bad things to someone, it's easy to just stand there and notice those patterns, right? Like especially like if like a Monday, like a weekday or whatever, you can just stand on the platform and look at the people at what time, and it's like, okay, it's 8:05, the train's here, that pretty girl is walking that door number 12. Chances are that next Monday she's gonna do the same thing.
Exactly. Exactly. And I never expected this until it happened to me.
Right.
And lo and behold, there was a time I got late, right?
Hmm.
And I was like, oh no, I'm gonna see the stalker again. I have no choice, but I have to take the schedule. I tried to hide myself. I wore a mask. I wore like it's luckily it's winter. I can cover myself as much as I can.
Right. Kind of like
But guess what?
a toque and stuff, sunglasses.
Not the sunglasses though. I did a mask thing, but I tried to I tried to cover myself, but I was in shock because the moment I sat on the bus, he walked and he stared at me again.
Like
And I was like,
like you knew it was
you should
you.
not know me. I'm already doing my best to cover up. Why do you still know me?
Wow.
It was so scary. I really freaked out. I'm like, what
Like
am I gonna do?
I'm wondering what if, and like, and not trying to downplay what happened to you because this is really scary. But
Yeah.
what if that person just has some kind of mental illness and is just there because he's going wherever he needs to go at the same time like you, and it just has this thing about staring people down. Like, what if it's like, no, it's not working very well up there. Maybe it doesn't mean to be creepy, or maybe it doesn't mean harm to you, but it's just kind of like that.
that can be a good
right?
assumption from you, Florent, because the thing is, there is a bus number, right? A waiting area
Hmm.
for students who attend special school.
Okay.
And he actually goes to that bus stop because
All right.
when I yeah when the bus left, I tried to observe where he was going, and he went there.
Right.
And one of the staffs of the company of my company said the same thing. He was like, "Me, don't you think he's just one of those special students who go to
Right.
that certain school, and maybe he finds you
I
attractive,
was, I
and
was, I was gonna say
he was
maybe.
just passionate about that." Yeah,
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe it just thinks you're pretty, but because it doesn't necessarily have those um, social skills and social
yeah,
cues, right? It doesn't understand that just looking at you because he finds you pretty is not necessarily acceptable to do to that degree, right?
yeah. It could be that, but it's not really pleasant
Oh, no, for sure.
for people accepting that,
Like
right?
like again, it's not to downplay what happened to you because I can only imagine like how it feels to be in that situation,
Yeah,
right? Regardless of the excuse behind it, regardless if it's no, in a like meaningful, harmful way or not, like
yeah,
it doesn't remove the feeling that no, it's not something very pleasant to happen to you, right?
exactly. Although we can consider that maybe as a mild situation, there are cases that became really serious where murder was already involved,
Right,
um, because the police didn't respond to it.
right,
And yes, there were some news of stalker victims, and they finally reported it to the police because these stalkers tried to get in their houses.
right.
And of course, this is already, a
Mm-hmm.
very obvious case. But yeah,
That's kind of
stalking,
that's
yeah.
kind of a crazy thing too. Is that it almost feels like they're so used to not having those things happen
Mm.
that when it does happen, they basically don't really know what to do, kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Like having that philosophy of basically there's nothing we can do to help you until that person actually tries to harm you. It's
Yeah.
like this is not how you protect people. Like when you look down on the philosophy of protecting people, you don't wait for the people you're protecting to be hurt to protect them,
Yeah.
right?
I'm confused, but okay.
Like if you're trying to protect someone, which is a
Mm.
police job, right? The police officers and the police department stuff, they're here to protect the citizens, right?
Yeah.
They're here to prevent the crimes from happening,
Mm-hmm.
right? If they're waiting for the victims to be hurt,
Right?
to be like, oh, we gotta do something about it, they failed at protecting them. They haven't protected them. You can't protect someone who's already hurt.
Exactly.
When you could have avoided it in the first place when that person came to you and be like, I think this guy wants to hurt me, and they were like, sorry, nothing I can do until he does.
Oh my god.
This is this is,
Yeah,
this is just
exactly.
ridiculous to me, right?
It is. It is.
And on top of that, they walk around with toy guns in their pockets. What is this?
Of course they will not, they will not share that to the media, because if they do, there'll be multiple cases of crime, and there will be like, oh, the police are,
All
yeah.
right.
But
So
yes, this
here,
is real.
here's the plan. We're gonna be the whistleblowers, okay, for Japan. So people watching us help us with that. We're gonna be the whistleblowers for Japan. We're gonna bring it to everybody's attention that the cops in Japan are walking around with toy guns instead of real guns, okay?
Oh my god.
And then there's gonna be a world outrage, especially from the Americans. We're gonna be like, "What? You're using toy guns? What about the real guns? You gotta use the real guns because Second Amendment and bullshit." And that's gonna force Japan to first use real guns, and second to actually have a real police force. I
Wait, hold on.
I
I'm
think
gonna have
I think
to
we're onto
make a
something there.
I need to clarify that, all right? Because some people would be like, "Oh, so all policemen in Japan are bringing toy guns?" No, no, okay, guys, no. Just some of them. Probably in 10 policemen, there would be two of them, you know, bringing toy guns.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I guess to be fair, maybe to avoid any legal complications, because we don't want to get sued by someone or something.
Yeah.
Um, we're not saying that all cops are walking around with toy guns, okay? We're saying that a few of them, an unspecified amount, we don't have an exact number. It could be 1 out of 10 or 1 out of 100, maybe even, who knows? But some of them have a very well made toy gun replica on their holsters instead of a real gun. Just saying. I think I will never get over that fact.
Also, they, as what I mentioned a while ago, they work in very big groups and they try not to, they try not to hurt the offender. They try not to shoot. It's almost 1% of a possibility for policemen to shoot down
Mm.
criminals in Japan.
Which is fine. I'm okay with that. Like, I'm okay with no police officers not having their first reflex to just draw the gun and start shooting, because this is kind of stupid too. This is this is
Exactly.
this is how it happens in the U.S., right? Mostly,
Yeah.
and like sadly more and more in Canada as well. Is that the
Mm,
cops are so on edge. I mean, the crime rates and crime types are also very different in North America than here in
right.
Japan. So it can be a little stressful for police officers here, in some cases.
Oh.
It can be also a lot more dangerous here for police officers than it would be in Japan, I would assume.
Hmm.
So, like, I'm not trying to excuse the fact that some police officers and some law enforcement are quick to, drawing the gun and starting shooting. But
Hmm.
that's one of the factors we have to consider, which is something that is not as common in Japan, I guess, because
Yeah.
like big crimes like that, not that it doesn't happen, but seems to be a lot more the exception than the rule.
Right. Right. Yeah, so to sum everything up, yes, Japan is definitely safe, but
Yeah, we're gonna go to Japan. We're not gonna get
yes,
murdered.
Japan is definitely safe, but of course, please try to be careful and don't be too, what do you call that? Don't be too confident with the places you go to. Don't
Right.
go to dark places alone, especially if you're a lady and you're in Tokyo. Please don't go home around 2 a.m. Please don't do that.
Well, I mean,
Don't,
like
yeah,
I think what we can sum up with is that like it doesn't matter where you're coming from. If
yeah.
if you're visiting Japan, and just have some goddamn common sense, right? It's not be,
Yes, exactly.
it's not because Japan is seen as one of the safer places in the world that you can just do anything you want. Like
Exactly.
you can go ahead and just get drunk and think like everything is gonna be okay. Like don't be like don't be dumb, okay? If you're going to visit Japan, don't be a goddamn dumb tourist foreigner, okay? Like use your freaking head. If you're going to go drink, don't freaking drive. That's it.
Yeah.
If you're a
Yeah.
single lady and you go in the bar, watch your drink. Don't just leave it there, okay? Not saying
Yeah,
someone's gonna spike it, but chances are it's possible. Just
it is.
just like everybody, like everywhere else in the world, right? So it's kind of a ah, like if you're a tourist in Japan, just don't be a dumb tourist.
Unfortunately for it, there are some dumb individuals around here.
I
But
know,
that's another story.
I know, and yeah, we have those here too.
Okay, that's it, everybody. And to sum everything up, we got our information from these sources: safearound.com, worldnomads.com, and japantoday.com.
Yes, I will put all those links in the description on the video once it hits YouTube sometime next week. For those who couldn't make it live, um, is there anything else we wanted to add? Do we have an idea of when we're coming back? Do we
Oh,
know?
yes. I think it's on December 15th for Tokyo and Manila, for Japan and the Philippines.
Let me check my calendar. So that's a Sunday for you. So Saturday the
Yes.
14th, 5 p.m. Pacific. That's when we're gonna be back.
Mm-hmm. And our time slot for Manila is already from 10 a.m. Yes. And 11 a.m. for Tokyo. This will be our permanent schedules from now on.
Right. That's what we're gonna do.
yes.
We got a little confused today, okay? Because I thought we were starting at 6 p.m. and I thought this was 9 a.m., 10 a.m. for Manila, Tokyo, or the other way around. I never know. I'm sorry. Uh, but as it turns out, we have daylight saving here, and they don't in Asia. So I got all
Yeah, no,
confused.
no.
And Jenny called me at like 5:05, or like, "Where the hell are you? We're supposed to be live right now." And I'm like, "No, we're not. We're live in an hour." And she's like, "No, it's this time." I'm like, "No, it's 5 p.m." And we're like, "Oh shit, the time changed." We got we got a little confused. So that's why. I mean, we started on time, Pacific time, but it was an hour late for Tokyo and Manila time. So that's why we want to make sure that we're gonna change those times and keep it the
yeah.
way it was today. Okay.
Yeah, we'll definitely announce it on Facebook
Um,
and Instagram and Twitter.
and Twitter, all those things. Yes.
Mm.
Okay. And yeah, that's pretty much it. If you are listening to us on Google Play, Spotify, iTunes, or watching on YouTube, um, you can find us live. The podcast goes live every 2-3 weeks or so. We don't like we have a pretty strict schedule actually lately. On
Mm-hmm.
my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/fsanporte. Find us on social media on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, at Holy Shiitake Podcasts. You'll find us easily this way in all those platforms. To keep updated, get some news. We're going to be working on some stuff coming out real soon. We're going to try to keep that a bit more engaged, to have some pictures and some cool stories coming out once in a while. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yes, it is.
All right. Well, thank you, Jenny, for today.
Thank you for it.
I'm sorry again for the confusion early on. I fell asleep too. Can you imagine? I actually fell asleep too. I woke up at the time that you thought we were starting at. That was that was real hard. But anyway, thanks for watching, everybody, and we will see you all on the next one. Bye.
Bye.